Hey everybody, welcome back to Northernlion Plays the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus. Against all odds, we've got a 1-2-3 streak. Cain? Dude, Raising Cain. Never been. Also, it's not called Raising Cain, it's called Raising Cane's. Still never been. YYKS. This is Zipper Manufactory. BKC7. You don't appreciate this if you're American, by the way. This is a bit for Canadians only. Anyone else out there in Canada grow up watching American TV and get unrealistically jealous of the amount of fast food options that they have? This is not me as an adult saying this, by the way. I'm gonna do the thing now where I go, I mean, ever since I started paying attention to, I was gonna say my HP, but to my, you know, physical fitness and nutrition to a slightly greater extent. It's not like I haven't consumed, you know, really, it just, there we go. It's not like I haven't consumed some things that are bad for me, but I honestly don't think I've consumed a fast food meal in like at least 4 months, but it might actually be higher than that. Actually, you know what? I think it was, I had a Primanti Brothers sandwich and french fries on the way back from Josh's wedding. I mean, you know, I've had sandwiches with the soup or sandwiches with a salad or, you know, Beyond Burgers and stuff like that, but those don't count as fast food because I was sitting down in a nicer establishment. The calories don't count when you're doing it in a nicer establishment. A $5 fast food meal? Oh, that's bad for you. A $14 sit-down burger? That's treating yourself. Anyway, I'm obviously being facetious, but when I was a kid, you know, I'd be watching like Nickelodeon or, you know, the Disney Channel or, you know, something along those lines. Let's see if we can get an arcade for the next floor. And they'd always have ads for like these places that don't exist in Canada. And I was always irrationally kind of envious of the fact that in the US you got so many fast food options, which obviously, you know, can lead to its own problems as well. But, you know, I ain't never seen a Sonic in my entire life. You know, we don't have Sonic up here. We don't have Long John Silver's. I know you're like, nobody even likes Long John Silver. Yeah, but... Hold on. We just need to reset their timer for a second. It would have been nice to at least have, you know, the option to say, ew! We didn't even get the option to say, ew. And I think that's honestly, like, is part of the reason when we have these discussions about, like, fast food chains on the NLSS, I feel like I'm really out of my depth. I've eaten at McDonald's, I've eaten at Burger King, I've eaten at Kentucky Fried Chicken, I've eaten at Subway. And then you start to get pretty low, you know? I have eaten at In-N-Out. I've eaten at Chick-fil-A like 2 times in my entire life. Apart from that, best of my memory, I've never eaten at Arby's. Never eaten at Taco Bell, which is what sends people, you know, for a loop the most. But you gotta remember, I kind of grew up in an area where if you ate like a taco, some people would be like, whoa, I didn't realize you like exotic foods. Isn't that tortilla a little spicy for you? That's not totally fair, but it's not a gross misrepresentation of at least where I grew up at the time of the mid-1990s. Let's put it that way. And moreover, you know, when I was a kid, I've always been kind of a creature of habit, for sure. But when I was a kid, we had the same routine for going to a fast food establishment. I eat fast food like once a week. It was always after softball practice, and I would go to KFC with my parents. I'd get the same thing, popcorn chicken. And then I'd get a fountain drink, and I would fill it up 1/8 with one of each of the 8 options from the soda fountain to make what we call swamp water. I know there's different names for it depending on the region you exist in. You know, a little Orange Crush, a little Dr. Pepper, little Pepsi. Reminds me. Before we move on, let's continue with that bit for a second. It's like it's what inspired me to be a scientist. Was making your own swamp water recipe. It's like, no, you idiot! You screwed up the secret recipe. is supposed to be 2 parts Pepsi to 1 part Dr. Pepper and then a little splash of Orange Crush just to keep the scurvy away. Let's try it. I'm not afraid. Wow, it kind of worked. Required some dodging though. But, wait, I had something. It was a good bit, Bront. Something to do with swamp water, KFC. No, it's gone. Sorry. Shouldn't have interrupted myself. Okay, let me out. Take the Joker card. Ooh. I mean, we gotta do it all. This run is popping, but it's a little bizarre right now. That is extraordinary. So we start here, grab this, and now we're off to the freaking races. Save that as well. But yeah, my fast food breadth is really low. You know, even as a kid, I was like, you know, why would I try something new on the menu? I already love the popcorn chicken. What's not to like? It's crispy, it's delicious, it's not quite white meat, it's not quite dark meat, it's like an in-between sort of gray meat. I don't really know where you're getting that from, but mostly, let's be honest, popcorn chicken is like 75% batter. It's a batter delivery service. So I missed out on all the American fast food chains. And I actually, as much as I make fun of the United States, I hope it's seen as mostly lighthearted. The thing is, I have a lot of respect for the country of the United States. And I think, in particular, you gotta give them respect for cuisine. And I'm not using fast food as an example of this, but, you know, to some extent, I feel like it's kind of indicative. I understand fast food is kind of usually garbage, but whenever people are like, it's bad for you and it doesn't taste good, I'm like, you've lost me. You've lost me with a bad faith argument. Because it tastes really good. I don't know if it's something like, because it was like the treat meal you had as a kid, it tricks your brain into being like, oh, this is heaven right here. This is the peak of culinary delights. Oh, we'll obviously take it. And we definitely should go to the shop. But when people are, I think they misrepresent fast food and they say it's bad and it's bad for you. Well, for the most part, it is really bad for you. Absolutely. It's not to say maybe you can't make choices that are a little healthier. But it tastes delicious. And I've eaten at unbelievable restaurants. I wouldn't necessarily go so far as to say some of the best restaurants in the world, but definitely I've eaten at some of the best restaurants in Vancouver. I've eaten, you know, very, very nice restaurants in, like, Sweden, Iceland. Certainly we want car battery. Yeah, I think we're good. Well, no, maybe we'll try one more reroll. I ate at Uwe Boll's restaurant. We probably would have preferred 9-volt in hindsight. But I'm telling you, do I prefer, like... Oh yeah, I forgot it. We ate at, like... We had the best sushi I've ever had in my entire life at this incredible place in Tokyo. But if you're like, hey, would you rather go to that restaurant again, or would you rather have, like, 10 chicken McNuggets? I would rather go to that sushi restaurant in Japan again. 100 times out of 100, and it's not even close. But that doesn't mean, like, what? I don't see what the chicken nuggets have to do with it. Like, why don't you leave the chicken nuggets out of it? They haven't done anything to anybody. America, they've got a great cuisine scene. You know, some of it's a little bit over the top. There's no doubt about it, but still. Anyway, I don't know where I was going with this. After this, I'm going to hydrate. It's getting hot in here. 28 degrees Celsius in the office. That's air conditioning temperature. Hold on. We got to crack this bad boy open. All right, I'm back. We don't really have, like, proprietary, like, Canada-exclusive fast food chains. You know, A&W here is good, and apparently much better than its American counterpart. We might as well check our boss trap room. At this point, the only thing we're lacking is raw damage. If we can pick up some raw damage, like, it's all over. And then we have a location known as Mary Brown's Chicken. Now, is it better than KFC? I don't know, because I'm one of those weirdos who thinks that KFC is actually, like, still pretty delicious. I'll be the martyr who says it. I know. I mean, yes, some of the ingredient quality does frighten me a little bit, but you know, the only time I've had Church's chicken, which is like our only other option up here for American-style fried chicken, was in an airport. And I don't think, I'm not gonna judge Church's based on the airport experience. That seems unfair. I don't know if it's better than KFC, but the restaurant smells amazing. Like, it's one of those restaurants like Subway that I think just, they had corporate meetings that were like, how can we sell more food? And they're like, well, what if we invented like a very concentrated oil of our smells and just pumped it out like to a 1 kilometer smell radius around the restaurant? You know when you're within like striking distance of a Mary Brown's chicken. You're like, are those potato wedges? And then, don't tell Dan, but prior to the popularization of Subway here in like the late 1990s, the most dominant sandwich chain was called Mr. Sub. Mr. Sub was like, Subway was like, hey, we got sweet onion chicken teriyaki. Mr. Sub was like, last year we added ham. It was, there are still people out there who will tell you that Mr. Sub is better than Subway. I've eaten probably at least dozens of both in my life, sadly. Maybe even closing in on... I've probably had hundreds of Subway sandwiches in my life. But not for a couple of years. And Subway is just 10 times better than Mr. Sub. If you're watching this and you are corporate at Mr. Sub, I apologize, but you gotta do something. You know, it's... This is gonna sound insulting, but like, most people seem to agree that Subway is not very good. I kind of disagree, but regardless, most people seem to agree that Subway is pretty bad. People put it in like the D tier of fast food. I have a real question for you that is unfair, but I still want an answer. Why don't they just make better sandwiches? It might sound ridiculous, like, why don't you just make better videos, NL? Ouch, for one. But like, isn't the science of how to make, you know, the greatest sandwiches in the world, hasn't it been solved for like 400 years? I mean, they made big steps by starting to toast the bread, but like, I feel like it's not that complicated. The main thing I've enjoyed about Subway, when I've previously gone to Subway in the past, didn't even see this tinted rock, is that it's kind of like I can trick myself into somehow thinking it's a healthy idea to eat a foot of bread. I'm like, well, yeah, I did eat a sandwich that was like as long as from my knee to my ankle. However, it's Subway, you know, you've seen the commercials. His name is Henry Clay Henry. He's a fireman and a... Well, we won't go with the next lyrics because things have changed. But either way, like, how hard is it to just make like a better sandwich? I guess is what I'm getting at. I don't want to get too mean-spirited about it. I don't want to insult doctors' associates, but I'm like, if somebody, like, let me put it this way. If I go to a place and they have, like, beef Wellington, and it's not that good, I'm like, I get it. Beef Wellington, you gotta make the pastry, You got the cut of beef makes an enormous difference. The skill of the chef makes an enormous difference. You know, there's a lot of moving parts involved with that. It's a difficult thing. If I'm out at an establishment and I have a bad sandwich, I'm like, what the heck happened? It's a sandwich. It's like bread plus toasted, plus real cheese, plus like, oh, let me out. High quality meats. Preferably some kind of Italian cured meat, and then you're good to go. I think. What do I know? Why don't I open my own Subway? Because I don't want to compete with Subway, you know? Just seems like one of those things that's not that complicated. I am still stunned. I've never worked in a fast food establishment. This is how I know I'm getting a little bit older, by the way. In case you want that for your bingo card for this episode. NL talks about how old he is. I am way less interested in the modern day in talking about how delicious a fast food burger is, and way more interested in talking about how the heck they managed to get, you know, 90 burgers out in 15 minutes. How is, like, I recognize it's not necessarily the highest quality product, and not that much care is put into absolutely every single order, because I've eaten there. But at the same time, I'm like, yo. Here's the thing. This is probably going to be more advantageous for us. Oh my god! I can't believe we got Blood Bag out of it that fast. That's actually hilarious. This could be a huge turn of events for us. Like, absolutely, I will sack a Spirit Heart to get more permanent Polaroid invincibility. We're probably going to end up buying the jar by accident. So why don't we just reroll everything first? Not a good bomb. Okay. I will try Hive Mind. And I'll pay 3 cents for this, just to... You might be like, NL, why not pop the Temperance card again? Oh, because it scares the crap out of me, dude. I don't want to have... There is a theoretical chance that by having so many Temperances, we might make it tough to just leave. And I don't really want to invite that evil into my life. Like, I'm trying to leave, but I just keep bumping into these guys at the end. Ooh, I'm dummy thick. Trying to escape, but I just can't stop the clap of my cheeks against the blood bank. Please never do that again. No, you don't understand. If you're part of the younger generation, you just don't get it. Part of the beauty of being a little bit older is being aware of the young people memes and using them against them. That's why I love dabbing so much. Dabbing is just the greatest invention. Because when like a 9-year-old dabs, everybody's like, ha ha ha, he's dabbing. But then when like a 30-year-old dabs, people are like, no, not allowed. And I'm like, it's allowed. Trust me, I've read the criminal code front to back. Dabbing, absolutely legal. The dads know it's not cool for a dad to dab. And that's what makes it cool. Because they don't care about what a 13-year-old kid thinks is cool. It's the ultimate form of rebellion. Maybe not. Anyway, what I was getting at is, I'm way more interested in the process of making this food than I am in the actual food itself. I've defeated temptation. At least temporarily. You know, on Thursday, I was like, Kate, what do you want to do for dinner? Kate was like, you're not gonna like it. And I was like, okay, give it to me straight. She was like, I am really craving some McDonald's. And I was like, you know, this is not to say you couldn't get something that, you know, fits your health goals at McDonald's. But, I wasn't really interested in being like, you know, going to McDonald's and then being like, all of the Asian noodle salad, please. Like, I trust my own ability to make something that's better than that. If I'm gonna actually eat at McDonald's, I want to eat the pink chicken goo that's fried. But I was like, you know what? That's okay. I went to McDonald's. I ordered her a chicken McNugget meal. And I was actually a little proud of myself, because at no point, oh my word, did it cross into my brain that I would get some for myself. And it's not really about, like, self-deprivation. I was just like, you know, I've temporarily at least broken whatever power that this food might have held over me at one point. It felt good. Then when I got home, I had 2 protein shakes and 400 grams of cashews. That's not true. But it makes for a funnier story. You ever think, like, people sometimes are like... I think that nutritional information, you know, is important for people. So that they get... Important for me. I'm not being preachy about it. You can eat whatever you like. And Lord knows I've eaten some garbage. I always tell this story. And you don't get to use it against me because it's like 3 years old now. But like Kate was in Japan. And I had some hard taco shells and some shredded cheese. And I was like, I wonder if these can make like a half decent nacho. Put the shredded cheese on the hard taco shell. Put it in the microwave for like 30 seconds and ate it. It was horrible. I told the story on the NLSS once as like a haha, aren't I a little bit silly? And then it's been used against me every time I talk about food ever since then. As if like half the people in the call don't like eat mayonnaise straight out of the jar sometimes. Anyway, I digress. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just saying you gotta, you know your audience. One silly meal as an experiment does not ruin your culinary tastes. Now, if you're tweeting the food pictures Sinvicta tweets, that's a different story. But those aren't his pictures. He's finding them on the internet. He's scraping them. Where was I going with this? I forgot. Anyway, I was using that as a bulwark against criticism that I'm being nutritionally snobby, which is not the case. To be honest, is genuinely not the case. But yeah, I feel like people have almost become disarmed by knowledge now. You know, you ever feel like sometimes you can be paralyzed by options because you know too much? Back in like 2004, Super Size Me came out. You started to hear people say things like, oh my god, did you know that salad has as many calories as a Big Mac? It's like the most common expression. You know, some salads, if they have a mayonnaise-based dressing, they have as many grams of saturated fat as a Big Mac. And you're like, I think the way that that knowledge was intended to be used for health purposes is like, hey, don't order that salad then. Find a different salad or something else that maybe works a little bit better. What it has instead become is weaponization. And now anybody who gets that salad, people are like, did you know it has as many calories as a Big Mac? That's not it wasn't intended to come out there to drag other people down and enable you to order Big Macs. Is instead of going for the, creamy ranch buttermilk fried chicken salad, it's got lettuce in it. How bad could it be? Instead, I can't believe we actually managed to get 3 in there. Instead, you're supposed to be like, I'll take the garden salad with a light vinaigrette, please. Now, can I tell you a dirty little secret? People always think that if, you know, a salad has as many calories as a Big Mac, why don't you just order the Big Mac? It's like the best kept secret in food. Salads that are bad for you are absolutely delicious. Like if you, and I'm being sincere here, if you gave me the choice, let's say they're nutritionally the exact equal, between like a really nice, like juicy hamburger and French fries, or like a super fatty, crouton-y, salty, zesty chicken Caesar salad, I'll take the chicken Caesar salad 100% of the time. I just think it's more delicious to me. It's like eating an artisanal Cool Ranch Dorito or something like that. I think people are sleeping. People are, they think like, oh, you're compromising your nutritional desires or your culinary desires by getting the salad. Nah, dude, you're missing out. Chicken Caesar salad has got it all. First off, cool crunch of the lettuce. Secondly, croutons. Crunchy, crispy. It's like having a little potato chip along with your meal. Did I mention the zestiness of the ranch dressing? The salty, crispy bacon bits? The chicken, which is not always cooked to its most delicious degree, but is smothered in a white, creamy sauce? Hey, you got, okay, enjoy your ground beef sandwich. I'll be over here enjoying a culinary smorgasbord. You're missing out. That's all I'm trying to say. We should be saying, you know, a Big Mac has as many calories as the buttermilk fried chicken Caesar salad. Why would you eat it? You're wasting 300 calories on the bun when you could be eating croutons right now, dude. Those are just my 2 cents, though. Okay, this run is always, or obviously I should say, completely set. I feel like it's been friggin' forever since we've been this comfortable throughout the duration of a run. This is like, we've just felt pretty much good to go. Not for the whole thing, but for almost all of it, for certain. So this is like, it's a dream come true, brother. Should probably be using blank card to, you know, accomplish literally anything. Get him. But still. Oh, there's a demon heart over there. I think fruitcake has, like, deceptively done a lot to keep us going as well. It's not to say, like, its effects aren't obvious, but sometimes you get a spirit heart or a demon heart, and you're like, oh, where did that come from? Decent chance might have come from a fruitcake tier effect, and don't forget about a theme. I forgot about a theme temporarily. It's a classic mistake. Okay, so hit him one of these, and I think just swap and use High Priestess. Compare this Isaac fight to so many of the Isaac fights we've had recently, where we've had to, like, with no damage, teach this guy a lesson and not get hit at all, or maybe if you're lucky you can get hit one time. This is a dream come true. This is the Isaac I've been missing, dude. Curse of the Unknown, modestly scary. I can't believe that, if I have one negative to say, by the way, it's just, I can't believe we didn't get Guppy yet again when we had such huge inroads so early. I'm telling you, with the amount I play this game, I understand the idea of variance and variance clumping. And, you know, really just observation bias, I guess, as well. But, like, simultaneously, I'm like, it really feels like they patched item rarities or something. Maybe not. I mean, hunches can be wrong. You ever see Hell's Kitchen where they use their they put a blindfold on and try to guess what foods they're eating? Sometimes it's ridiculous. They eat like a, I mean, they're supposed to be like purees, so you don't get a textural thing. They'll eat like a carrot puree, and they're like, it's garlic, chef. Like, really? Either this is way harder than it looks, or you guys are... You guys have blown out your taste buds, sampling one too many soups that are, oh, too hot, too hot. I'm bad for that, I gotta admit. You know, I talk about cooking now and then. I don't consider myself, I'm like a utilitarian cook. I'm not really like a chef. It's not to say I don't make good tasting food, but I'm much less concerned about, you know, hey, we're gonna take 45 minutes and make like an amazing meal. Instead, I'm like, we're gonna take 80 minutes and we're gonna make, you know, 6 lunches for the week. Which is very important. Very helpful, I should say, at least. Not necessarily important, but... there's not that many tips to cooking, except, you know, try it, I think. And, you know, you'll get better as you go along. But also, you gotta taste the food. And I'm really bad for tasting the food when it's too hot. Probably like a quarter of the time I cook a meal, I burn my tongue. And there's like... There's varieties of burn as well. The worst is if you have something breaded, and then you're like, I gotta taste a little bit of it to make sure it's cooked on the inside and the breading's crispy. Then you get like the breadcrumbs are like scalding, and when they go onto your tongue, it's just like volcano sand. Ooh. End up, you know, with that weird, you burn the roof of your mouth and then it's a whole thing. You've been there, I know, it's a classic pizza thing. You bite into the pizza, it's too hot, the scalding cheese gets stuck on the roof of your mouth. I'm uncomfortable even, like, describing it. Like, it makes me feel a little weird. And I'm normally not one of those guys. I'm normally, like, you know, not rattled by conversation, let's put it that way. I love that we've had 4 times cage room twice. That's ruthless RNG. Wait, you're not the cage, are you? I forget. Sister Viz? Whatever. You guys actually aren't nearly as bad as the cage. Maybe that's my problem with Isaac, is I don't remember the enemy names anymore, indicating that perhaps I've lost some skill. No, not possible. Doubt it. I think we're totally fine as far as HP goes. Sister Maggie would take us up to 4 red heart containers. And then if we need red hearts, every red heart would give us a little bit more. I don't know. Now I'm a little nervous, but we'll just do the very sensible thing. And stand relatively far back. Don't get in there and risk taking damage. Don't forget to use your Tarot Cloth Hagalaz. That's going to be a huge leg up on the competition. Not. Yeah, this is totally fine. Now I'm realizing, like, dude, we're lucky this run is ending when it is. Because our DPS, with no insult meant, because it's obviously above average, it did kind of sputter and stall a little bit. You know, 10 rate of fire this late in the game is obviously not that bad in this situation because we have a really high damage stat, but it's starting to get to the point where we're slowing down. We're decelerating relative to the enemies we're facing. Anyway, it's all good for now. Thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. We're up to 4 wins in a row. Maybe this could be a random streak that gets off the ground. For now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. See ya!